Hey, Em.
Hey, Rick.
Did you see that Punxsutawney Phil predicted early spring?
I did. I'm so excited. I missed the sun.
Me too. Whenever I saw that he'd predicted it, and that there wasn't going to be 6 more weeks of winter, I was like, thank God.
Right. You know, it's funny. I saw this meme
Oh,
about him, like a groundhog predicting spring versus winter.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because it was basically saying that, you know, in the U.S. we make fun of fortune tellers and magic and shit like that. It's not real, but every year we ask a fucking groundhog to predict the future.
Yeah. It's kind of funny.
Yeah.
I love it though. I think it's really cute. And like the idea that this little groundhog is worshipped by this whole town of Philadelphia,
Right.
I'm just like, man, it does not get any cuter than that.
No, I agree. I think it's really cute. It's just, I'd never thought about it that way, and it's kind of true.
And honestly, I feel like we probably should be doing more of that. Like, I feel like humanity should look more towards nature to, like, get a better understanding of what kind of climate is coming, because they're more in tune with that kind of stuff anyways.
Absolutely.
And our meteorologists are never fucking right anyways, so like I don't know why we're even trusting them.
Right. I feel like half the time they're just fear-mongering.
Right? My conspiracy theory is that they're in on it with the grocery stores. And that they fearmonger worse weather so that the grocery stores will profit more. And I'm sure there's some kind of side hustle.
I believe it.
Listen, we're not QAnon, okay? But that's just my own fun little, I see you. Side eye. Either way, his prediction means early spring, fingers crossed, and that means less seasonal depression.
Thank God. I'm so over it.
Me too, and I'm sure you guys are too, so welcome back all you sibling people. Let's talk about some seasonal depression shit. This is Sisters Show Me How, a podcast, a place where we help you talk through all the real rough shit. I'm Raging Rick, host of Sisters Show Me How and your how-to sister.
And I'm Empire, co-host of Sister Show Me How and your other how-to sister.
You know, Em, I feel like seasonal depression and the current geopolitical events that are going on are just like this nasty ass breeding ground for hopelessness.
Absolutely.
And it's just like a virus that has been infecting honestly everybody. Like, there is not a single person in my experience, in my own little bubble, that is not dealing with some sort of hopelessness.
Yeah, it's really overwhelming because it feels like, especially for our generation, you know, millennials, Gen Z, us younger folks, it's like every time we turn around, there's some sort of new historical event that we're living through, and it gets really exhausting.
Yeah, it gets old quick. And I think you're right that, like, while, you know, honestly, maybe not, though. I feel like the younger generation might be immune to it at this point. You know, like, I feel like the older generation, in my idea of how adapting should work, I feel like the older generation would be more traumatized by how quickly and how much more horrific things are now than they were then.
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying. I think maybe that points back to, I've always heard this thing about, like, you know, millennials have sort of been the catalyst of getting things to start to change, but Gen Z are the ones that are like, no, we're fucking changing it.
Yeah.
Because they are, I won't say immune to it, because you're never immune to traumatic things, let's be honest. But yeah, they're more equipped to be like, well, then let's fucking quit this. Like, let's do something different.
A lot more adaptable. I feel like the older generations the kind of privilege that us newer generations have of like the knowledge of
right, with social
mental
media and everything else, also broadcasting all of these events so much more. It's so much more accessible for us to get information on things.
Yeah. So I feel like while we are experiencing a lot more heavier shit, we're also more equipped and more adaptable. And I feel like maybe sometimes older generations, because they don't have the words and the pathways to kind of communicate that effectively, it might be harder for them on that. Either way, everyone is experiencing hopelessness.
I feel like that's why maybe there wasn't more change with some of the older generations also, is because they didn't have some of these tools to talk about things, and it was like more taboo to talk about things like mental health, that they kind of just turned a blind eye.
Yeah.
And they were like, we're just going to bury our heads in the sand and pretend like it's not happening.
Or deal with it just to survive. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And now we're more focusing on trying to thrive. And that's why these things are coming about more frequently.
Yeah.
Either way, we are here to add to that conversation today by talking about hopelessness and how to recognize and combat these feelings. So let's talk about it.
All right. Definition of hopelessness.
Okay, so I kind of went down a rabbit hole on this one a little bit because hopelessness is like a word of a word.
Right.
You know, so the definition of hopelessness is a noun, a feeling or state of despair or a lack of hope.
Okay.
So then naturally, okay, what is hope?
Right.
Hope, as per the Oxford Dictionary, is a noun, a feeling of expectation and a desire for a certain thing to happen. A feeling of trust can also be a verb, to want something to happen or to be the case.
Okay.
So I have issues with this a little bit because it's all about future tense and like desires and stuff. And so I was brought back to my handy dandy shaman book, Spirit Hacking, written by the one and only Shaman Durek. We have recommended this book previously on the podcast, and I stand by again, and I say that it is practically a guided journal for me at this point, as you can tell with all my little tabby tabs. But Shaman Durek redefines hope as a fear construct encoded with doubt and uncertainty for the same reasons, because hope is established in the future tense.
Right.
When we are feeling hopeless, we are feeling a sense of fear about something that's to happen in the future.
Right.
You know what I mean? So the natural way to combat that is to step back and reinsert yourself into the present moment and reinvest. What Shaman Durek is essentially trying to get us to grasp is that hope is always in the future tense, as is hopelessness. So in order to combat that, we need to step back into the present when we're feeling down and reinvest ourselves into the current moment.
Right.
So what hopelessness actually ends up being in the current moment is depression and despair.
Yeah.
So that's what we're dealing with today. We need to recognize that our hopelessness is something that's in the future, and that's not for us to worry about. We need to deal with what is now, and if we are feeling depression and despair in the current moment, how do we deal with those?
Yeah.
We thought this was just seasonal depression. Turns out it's just about all depression.
Everything. All of the above.
All the sad feelings. We're talking about how to be sad today.
And how to fix it.
And how to fix it.
I think also one thing about like talking about hope and it being such a future thing, and it seems like it's this pretty magical word to just kind of patch some things up and just, you know, you're hoping for the best.
Right.
But you're not doing anything. Don't just sit there and hope for the best. What are you going to do to actually bring the best about?
Exactly. And that's what he says too, is that like, one, we need you guys to recognize that your words matter. The reason it's called spelling is because your words are casting spells on your subconscious mind every time you speak them out loud. So when you're saying, I'm hoping for the best, what you're essentially saying out loud is, I'm afraid that the best won't come. And I'm just hoping that I desire that the best outcome will just come along.
Right.
But what you're putting out is a frequency of fear. I'm afraid that what I want won't come about.
Right, and again, it's also that thing of like, you're just letting it go. You're just putting it out into the universe and you're letting it go, and you're not the one taking charge and putting things into action to try and get to the best.
Right, right. So we want to fixate on our words and make sure that we are, well, not fixate. Let's not fixate on things. But we want to focus.
Bring a little bit more intention.
Intention and attention to our words and the things that we are saying, and recognize the feelings that we are actually having in the present moment. So a lot of the times, a fun way that I have found to deal with my depression, because I have been plagued with depression for so long, like literally, I started cutting when I was 12. So I had to have had depression years before then, right? Because like you don't just wake up one day with depression and decide, I'm sad today, I'm going to cut myself, right? Yeah. So a long time, and so much long that I don't remember when it started. But I like to, and actually I think it started with a MySpace meme.
Damn.
Yeah, that's how long I've been using this tactic. And it was to think of your body as a mech suit.
Okay.
Yeah, and I've seen further reiterations about this of like, you're a demon in a host body and you have to make sure that your power can stay contained within the host. So it's like a way to encourage you. Yeah, if you're into Satanism, I guess that like would work for you. Or you could be like, you're an angel in the host body, or
some sort of spirit.
Right, I'm a goddess within a host body, and I need to make sure that my tower. Either way, it's supposed to encourage you to maintain your body and like take care of yourself, and to detach your being from your feelings and to help you process them in like a better way. Because then, like, it reminds me kind of that movie. What's the Disney movie with all the emotions?
Oh, Inside Out.
Inside Out. How it's like a message board in your brain, and all of these different entities are controlling like different buttons and stuff. And so it just like helps to gain perspective with these things. Yeah, but I've been using that one for a long time. And it helps a little bit, because then I can be like, why am I angry right now? And then be like, oh, hey, stupid bitch, you haven't eaten anything. Your mech suit is blaring an alarm, so maybe we should take care of that.
Yeah. Listen to your meat suit.
Yeah, I like mech suit better.
Yeah, that does sound better.
Meat suit sounds...
yucky.
Yeah, like rotting and decaying.
Yeah. Okay, so listen to your mech suit. And look for the alarms.
Yeah, right? But honestly, like on a more realistic level, I guess, research your whys, you know, and then invest time into the how do I fix this? Especially when you don't want to. Because when you don't want to, that's when you need to the most.
Yeah.
And it sounds counterintuitive, but that's how our bodies work.
It's so true, though. It's so true. I do this I've noticed I do this, like there are things and I'm like, I should really journal about this. This is something that's a big problem for me. And I'm like, I really don't want to go down that path. It's going to be really rough.
Yeah.
But that just like means like, yeah, the path is going to be really rough, but whatever's at the end is probably going to be so much better.
Yeah. Again, what did you say in the previous pod? To make your life easier? It's hard to make your life easier?
Yeah. In order to make your life easier, you almost have to make it harder, or in an effort to make your life easier, you end up making it harder by, you know, if you're lazy because you don't want to go exercise, you don't want to eat healthy, so you order out, you end up having health issues down the road. You don't brush your teeth, so you get heart disease later in life, etc., etc. So you almost have to be high maintenance in the present moment to make your life easier later on.
Right. Like take the extra time to home cook your meal so that you feel better later on, or take the extra time to you know, maybe floss and like moisturize your face and like
Right. Put on your sunscreen now, even though it takes an extra 10 seconds so you don't get skin cancer when you're 55.
that is a good one. So many adults in my life have gotten skin cancer lately, and they've had to have chunks removed, and I'm like, that looks scary.
Yeah.
That looks scary.
Yeah. You don't want to do it.
So use sunscreen. Avoid depression. Use sunscreen. No, but really, the sun will help with your depression, so that's not a horrible tip.
Yes, just use the sunscreen so it doesn't kill you later.
Yeah. Yeah, literally. Another fun little disassociating or disconnecting me from my horrible emotions idea is, I don't know if you've seen this, but it's a really raunchy adult cartoon show called Big Mouth.
I've heard of it. I haven't watched any of the episodes.
There is a spin-off series called Human Resources.
Okay.
So essentially in Big Mouth, it's about like these adolescent teenagers who are feeling big emotions, mostly hormonal induced emotions, right? And so each one of these adolescent youth has a hormone monster. And the hormone monster like interacts with only their human, I guess, only their individual, and just pretty much influences the things that they do in real life within these other adolescent youth. And then in Human Resources, it focuses on the hormone monsters and all of the different strong emotions that humans feel. Now they're identified and characterized as individual beings.
Okay.
And different species. So like the hormone monsters almost look like these like goat human crossbreeds. You know what they're called? Fawn. They're called fawn. I know that sounds crazy, but the mythological creature is called a fawn. And it's a half goat, half human creature.
Trying to think back to Percy Jackson.
Yep, exactly, him.
I think you're right, yeah.
Yeah. And
it just doesn't sound right.
It doesn't sound right, but I just looked this up the other day.
Okay. I believe you.
So, thanks. Trusted research Rick to the rescue.
Yeah.
And then there's like depression kitties, and they're these giant cats.
Yeah.
And then there's like a shame wizard, and what else is there? Oh, there's like a ambition goblin, and then love bugs.
Cute.
Oh yeah, so like every strong emotion that humans feel has its own species, and they each are designated with a client, with a human, and they're like a whole team with this one human, and they collaborate and like move this human's life forward based off their influences.
Sort of like a raunchy adult version of Inside Out.
Yes.
Okay. Nice.
Yes.
I'm gonna have to watch that.
It's like Inside Out meets The Office.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, that's a great way of putting that. I wonder if their marketing team has caught on to that.
I don't know. Maybe.
I don't know. If you decide to look into it, just know it is raunchy. So we're not advising children to listen to it. This isn't a children's podcast anyway, so it wouldn't matter. But
yeah.
But it has been a really cute way for me to distance myself from my emotions in a way to gain perspective on like how to deal with them. Mm-hmm. So like sometimes I'll even catch myself, like if I'm having a lovey-dovey moment like with my partner or with my cats, I will visualize in a funny enough manner my little love bug going, oh, and her little butt just lighting up. Like,
cute.
This is so cute. And sometimes it actually helps because I feel like a lot of us suffer depression, go numb to a lot of our emotions. And so sometimes we can be in a moment we know should be happy, and we are recognizing that our happiness feeling is not equating with what we know it should be. And it's because we've been so numb and so deadened to those feelings that sometimes it takes me thinking outside and visualizing my love bug to recognize that, like, no, this is actually a good moment. And even though I'm not there yet, I can look back on this moment and be like, that was actually really nice. Mm-hmm. And the feeling of love will grow with that memory. You know what I mean? Like, right. I try not to shame myself for not feeling the way I think I should in a specific moment. Mm-hmm. And using my depression kitty and my love bug and my ambition goblin, it helps me to, like, one, not guilt myself, and also feel the feelings that I want to feel more.
Yeah, because you're totally right. When you, especially if you've been in a state of depression for a long time, like this was something I struggled with during COVID lockdown, especially because I was by myself most of the time and I was so depressed that I was in this state of just complete apathy to basically everything. Mm-hmm. And so, like, even when I was having, like, a good time, like I was meeting up with my friends or my family or something, I very much just felt meh.
Yeah, exactly. And I totally resonate with that. And that's why having the visualizations of the external emotions, whatever species you decide to give them, it doesn't have to be human resource related, but it helps enhance that because I can feel that emotion inside me growing. Mm. I'm at least recognizing that.
Yeah.
When before it was like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I would just completely discredit all of the good parts of my life because I was only fixating on feeling miserable. I was just letting depression kitty sit on my chest all the time. And I was like, oh, she's soft and warm. And
I'm used to this.
Yeah, so. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think that's also, I mean, apathy is in many ways worse than feeling the depression.
Yes.
But I think it's also kind of our brain's way of protecting ourselves because you can't feel miserable all the time. Like, we're just not created to withstand that. And so that's like this little shield that we put on.
Yeah.
And instead of it being a shield that lets, like, the good guys in and keeps the bad guys out, it just keeps everybody out.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, and that's the thing, like, that's even reinforced in the idea that our bodies go into physical shock after they've witnessed even a traumatic event, but much less, you could pass out if you experience a certain amount of pain. You know what I mean? Like, your body will physically just be like, nope, I can't handle it anymore. Yep. We're done. Yeah. And the same is true with your emotions. And so you're right, apathy comes in, puts the wall up and says, nope, we're done. Nothing gets in, nothing gets out.
Yeah.
And it's just it's hard to tear down that wall. And sometimes it's mega reinforced because it's been up for so long.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, it's not just brick, it's brick and stick and then a metal wall and then... Well, it started as sticks, you know what I mean? The three little pigs. Huffing a puffing, the sticks don't work, so then you go to bricks and then you go to mortar.
Concrete with rebar reinforcement.
Rebar, yeah. Yeah, God. Choked on that one a little bit. But yeah, the moral of the story is each one of your emotions is its own character. They're just guests that come in and out of your being. And each one of them wants as much screen time as possible. The depression kitty being the biggest slut of them all. So, just try to stage manage better and
yeah,
put your cast where they belong. Get up here, love bug, it's your turn, goddammit.
Nice.
How do you feel like you deal with some of your depression whenever it gets too crushing?
One thing, particularly with hopelessness, and I've really had a hard time with these life historical events.
Oh my God, I know.
I have really struggled with that because it really does. It feels like we're like, oh my God, like the world is fucking ending. This is awful. Like, this is the worst it's ever been. And look back at history. This is not the worst it has ever been. We've been like this probably always.
We're just fluctuating. It's like 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 2 steps forward, 1 step back.
And also, you have to remember that we are the generations that have grown up with access to so much media that we are seeing so much more of the bad shit happen than most generations ever have. So, of course, it feels so much worse and so much more unmanageable.
Yeah.
But, like, think back on history. Like, think back on, like, the world wars, you know, the Roman Empire falling.
Great Depression.
Some of the plagues.
Yeah.
Like, they're really horrible things. People lived through those and, like, probably felt the same way we did.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, the world just keeps chugging on. Life keeps going on. It really does suck. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But sometimes it helps me to kind of look back at history and be like, we are not the first people to feel like this and feel like the world is going to implode.
Yeah.
So if they can get through it, we can get through it.
Yeah, we just got to do what we can in the present moment with what we're given.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's another great way to look back at history is think about the people who made amazing change that we think about now, like
that we highly benefit from now.
Yeah, like Rosa Parks, Martin Luther King Jr.
Yeah.
Other people who did good things. Trying to think of other people. There are other people, we know them. There's some of us, I'm sure, it's fine. But yeah, so like there are people who made good change. Like right now we can talk about Greta Thunberg. I think that's how you say your name.
Thornburg.
Thornburg?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm so sorry, Greta. I love you.
I love you. It's your name's fault. It's not my fault. I'm just kidding.
But yeah, like she's doing amazing things to
Absolutely.
make change. Like she's probably going to be in history books someday talking about how she saved the world from climate change, you know?
Or at least encouraged saving the world.
So, you know, we can talk about all sorts of stuff like that, and maybe you want to be one of those people, or maybe you just need to find those people in our generation who give you hope for the future because they're doing something or you are doing something.
Yeah. So. And I agree with your point, but I want to fix some wording there, if I may. Because, again, we're getting away from the word of hope. So
well, that's why I'm saying, like, they're doing stuff to change it. So, like, maybe that's what you're doing, too. So, But, yeah, that hope for the future, again, need to combine that with action.
Right.
You can't just sit there. It's like that song, The Mountain or This Mountain or whatever.
This Mountain.
This Mountain. Who's it by?
Faucia.
Yeah. It starts out and it's like, she has this line about hoping I'm going to make it to the top this time, but hoping leads to failing and failing leads to falling.
That's my point.
So yeah, it's because you can't just sit here and hope that it's going to happen. You have to do something to get there.
Right. So my point on the wording was we don't want to find people who bring us hope for the future. We want to find people who bring us, and this is where I hadn't gotten all the way to form the thought, but people who bring us promise for the present. Ooh, that's a good one.
I like that alliteration.
That's a good one. So we don't want to find people who bring us hope for the future. We want to find people who bring us promise for the present. I almost forgot it.
I think it can be a little bit of both. I agree we can't fixate too much on the hope for the future. Right. But I think that if you're focusing on the promise of the present, there's always going to be then some hope for the future.
Right.
It's just that, yeah, you need to focus more on the here and the now than just waiting and hoping that someday. We want it to be today. Right.
We just want to reiterate that the idea of hope is a fear construct, and we are trying to turn away from that completely.
Right. I think another thing that helps with hopelessness a lot is it's going to be kind of another dissociative tactic is
we're really good at dissociating.
Well, okay, here's the thing though. This has to come with, like, the key of it is you can't ignore it forever. But so with this one, like, find anything that brings you joy. If that's your family, your pets, your hobbies, just things that bring you joy, focus on those enough until you feel like you have some of the strength to deal with things.
Right.
But you can't dissociate forever. It's not healthy for you. It's going to come back to bite you in the ass at some point. And also, you're not doing anything then. You need to actually do something to deal with the depression, to deal with the hopelessness, and move through it.
Right. So I think a more clear point would be we're not trying to dissociate, but detach a little bit. We're trying to detach from the feeling of numbness and from, what's that? Apathy. We're trying to detach from the feeling of numbness and apathy enough so that we can come back with a renewed strength to deal with the depression and the despair.
Right. It's kind of like when we talked about willpower. You know, if you're constantly focusing on all of the depression and the despair and all of these bad things that are going on in the world, you're depleting all of that willpower because, you know, it's a lot. It is. It's a lot.
That's
and
a good
so,
point.
yeah, you have to let go of some of that stuff in order to then be able to come back to it feeling freshened and stronger.
Yeah, that's a good point. I hadn't thought about the fact that, I mean, it makes sense because when you're depressed, you have no motivation. And willpower and motivation are kind of like holding hands together.
Right.
So that makes a lot of sense. But yeah, that's a really good point to make. I think another fun way to combat depression is to, obviously, like you said, indulge in your hobbies, anything that like brings you joy, but also to go out into nature because the gods heal all. And by the gods, I mean the trees and the streams and the dirt and the bugs and the birds.
And the sun with the vitamin D and your sunscreen.
Yeah. Sunscreen heals depression.
Sure.
So today we are going to, in case you were confused by our prop design today, one of our hobbies is plants. And since that's a hobby and nature combined, we're going to plant some lunaria seeds today. And lunaria I chose for us today because, well, it's February, and it's all about the end of winter and the coming back of the sun, and abundance and whatnot. And lunaria seeds actually represent the moon. Duh, because lunaria and luna,
Yeah, that makes sense.
which represents your emotions. And so since we're dealing with depression, emotions, but that also deals with abundance. It's used to represent money because it's a money plant too, is the layman's term for it, is the money plant.
Right.
Money, honesty, and sincerity. It's used in spell work to ward off negative energies and to invoke protective powers.
Ooh, I love that.
I know, so
excited.
it was really fitting, and it's a plant, and that's our hobby, and it's nature, and that's good for depression.
I love it.
So we're gonna plant some seed today.
I'm so excited.
Okay, so today we are just gonna use some basic Miracle-Gro because these are seedlings, so it's not really gonna matter, but typically, as a good gardener, you would make your own potting soil because different plants need different requirements, need different types of soil, obviously, because they naturally grow in different kinds of environments. But to start seedlings, it's not going to be that big of a deal to just use regular ass potting soil.
Especially because most seedlings need to be kept damp.
Right.
For like 99% of the time as
Right.
they're growing into little baby plants, and then that's when they really need to be put into their more environmental, typical soil.
Soil, yeah. That was...
Thank you. I was like,
sounded
does that
so
sound
smart.
right?
Yeah, it was great.
Thanks.
Yeah, so, and plus this it's not natural. This regular Miracle-Gro stuff is packed full of fertilizers and chemicals and stuff that will be fine for growing a plant. We're not eating these, so it doesn't matter
Right.
if it's in organic soil or not.
Yeah.
Okay? So I'm gonna be really obnoxious and like roll this up. It's just really loud, but it'll help us and be less obnoxious later.
Do you need help?
No. I'm just gonna put it on the floor.
The cats are probably hearing this like, what the fuck? They're gonna get into our food? We want some.
I know. Okay, so let's just fill these up right here. We're already doing the damn thing.
Yeah. You got it? Nice.
Man, we should do like... No, that's riskier. I'm confused.
Do what you feel is right.
This is very cute, but tiny little trowel.
Yeah. I think I got it from the dollar store.
That's fair. Ooh, you know, they have some really cute, like, patio tables out right now for, like, $5, and some huge-ass plastic pots that are, like, self-watering.
Ooh, I love that. I love the self-watering pots.
I know, me too.
Ha! Right, well, I've already failed.
She made a mess. I was clean.
Yeah, you shouldn't spill it all, and I spilled my first shovelful. We do recommend doing this not inside on your table.
Yeah, you should, or at least have like a mat underneath. I don't know. Whatever, just clean up. Just know if you're gonna do it inside, it's gonna be messy.
Yeah. As we said, especially if you're a klutz like I am. Is that enough?
I think so.
Okay, cool.
Okay. So, this is what Lunaria seeds look like. Oh, I don't want to spill them. Ta-da. Look like little, Em said bed bugs. That's really gross, though.
Yeah.
I think they look like...
They kind of also look like the leaves from, like, String of Turtles, if you've ever seen those, just like little mini ones.
Yeah. Or, like, little pine cone seeds is what they remind me of.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Okay, so this says to put them in about 1/4 inch deep. And that is about your fingernail. So, well, unless you're one of those really cool divas who wears really long fingernails. But a natural fingernail. So we're just gonna put some holes around here. Or actually, it doesn't matter because we can cover it with yeah, whatever. Okay, so flatten this back out. Trial and error all the time. And we're just gonna sprinkle these around then. If you're doing the tactic that we are, try to spread them out kind of evenly around because eventually you will have to thin them out. And we want to, one, give each seed enough space to give it a good chance at life, but then also make it easy for us when we have to transplant them so their roots don't get too tangled together.
Yes.
Now that we have our seeds in, we're gonna cover them with about 1/4 inch of soil because that's what the bag says.
Which really isn't very much.
No, it's about a shovelful.
It says to firm lightly, so just like kind of press it down. And to keep evenly moist. So I'll fill up our watering can that Rick so beautifully painted.
With spray paint.
It's still beautiful. Where I want you to. What you can also do is as these are growing, you might want to get like a little mister bottle. You can get them pretty cheap, usually at like a dollar store or Walmart or something. And you can mist the soil to keep that top layer where the seeds are moist.
Yeah, that's a good idea. And you're right, you don't have to spend a whole lot of money to do this.
No, You can dig some dirt out of your yard if you have a yard, or somebody else's yard. Don't do that.
You're just like in your apartment complex getting dirt out of their rose bushes. Like,
don't do that. I mean, but don't. We don't condone that. But don't do that. So our sisterly advice would be to take care of your mind the best you can.
and remember that the present moment always has so much more to offer than the depression kitty does. So chew that over and then come back next week so we can think about what the world would look like without hopelessness at all. As for today, we're so glad that you came to chit chat with us. And as always, feel free to take what you need and leave what you don't. And join us in the next chat if you feel like it. Or take a break from the talk and watch us get some actual work done on our DIY channel, only on YouTube.
Also, check out our social media where we post more how-to guides and bonus footage from the previous episodes. And while you're there, why don't you guys tell us what's going on in your world? We want to help. After all, that's what a sister's for.
Bye, guys. Oh, I have a coffee stain.
Oh. I don't know where my Tide to Go sticks are.
Fine. There's also cat hair all over me.
Yeah, that happens.
Okay, anyways, whatever. Are you pretty?
I think so.
Okay, do you have any boogers?
You're good.
Good.
You're good.
You're good.
Sweet.
Is this thing tucked behind my ear?
Yes, but you have a different one that's sticking out of the braid.
It's because your cat.
Yeah.
He ate my hair.
I'm sorry. He's psycho.
Yeah, he is. Okay, ready?
Ready.
Hey, Ed.
Hey, Rick.
Did you see that what is his name?
Puxatawny, right?
Puxatawny.
Should we look that up, baby? I'm pretty sure it's Puxatawny Phil. Let's double check. Puxatawny Phil. Punxsutawney Phil.
Can you have them say it for us?
Punxsutawney Phil. Punxsutawney Phil.
Punxsutawney Phil. Punxsutawney
Phil. Oh my god. I swear it's Puxatawny. Nobody says the N.
I know. I'm gonna say it.
And I mean, yeah, you do.
We got proof. It's
yeah.
Punxsutawney. And if anyone wants to come for us, they can
Fucking stupid.
come for the internet because that's where we got it from.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I'm supposed to talk about the
Yeah,
meme.
you
Fuck. I was like, wait, what do we do now?
Just yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, are you high? You would think that.
I don't think so.
Okay. And I'm sure you are too. So welcome back, all you sibling people. It's time to kick some seasonal depression in the gonads. I'm getting this all sorts of confused. Let me look at what this says. Also, sometimes we get topics where like I can physically feel spirit in the room with us and it gets really overwhelming. And this is one of those days and I'm like choking on my words, like I'm feeling like just emotionally fried.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, this is a big, hard topic. That doesn't sound good.
Yeah, it is. We take on the big hard topics. Bring it on.
Not what I meant.
It's what I meant.
Okay.
Okay. She said, stop, I'm red.
I'm crying again.
That's how funny we are. Man. Okay. And that's why having the visualization.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Same.
And that's why, yeah. And that's why having the visual. I can't even do it. What the fuck?
You can do this. I believe in you. We figured out fuck.
No, we didn't.
Punxsutawney Phil.
Yeah, there we go. Okay. And that's all about rebirth and like Nope, that's March.
So close.
Because it's February and so these say 4 plants per 20-inch container. Oh fuck. I swear we've done this before. It just doesn't seem like it today.
It's a, not a good brain day.
No, it's really not. The sun's not out yet, so.
So our sisterly advice would be to take, what is it?
To take care of your mind the best you can. So and then come back next week to talk. So we can talk about what a world without hopelessness would even look like. So we can imagine what a world without hopelessness looks like.
Yeah.
Okay. And so chew that. I hate this. Come back next week so we can ponder all of the ways the world. So we can ponder all of the ways
A world without hopelessness may look. I don't know.
and come back next week so we can ponder on a world without hopelessness. Oh my god.
I believe in you.
And then come back next week so we
Or we could also just do and come back and chat with us again next week.
You're making it too easy on us, Em.
Sorry.
I'm struggling. Don't laugh at me.
Also, don't forget to check out our social media where we post helpful.
Thank God.
Okay. Also, check.